Welcome everybody to another episode of WayBack Media, and today we're going to go through a video from December 2, 2015 on Fox News. And we're going to see Greg Jarrett, who's going to talk about the election. This is 2015. No one at this point thinks Donald Trump is going to win the nomination. He's got mixed reviews at this point. Remember, this is still December of 2015. So we're going to go through the video. We'll see who made what predictions and what actually came through. On the right side of your screen, you're going to have a political election primary result. And we're going to go through this together.
One political scientist says, he thinks the real estate mogul with no political experience could actually be capable of winning. And they're less. What do you think of that?
I think there's a lot of truth to that, and I think in the cycle in 2012, we were talking about 999 and Herman Cainifying everything at this time, the last go-around. I think what you're going to find is that as we get closer, people will start taking a more critical look. But I do think
that's true. That did happen.
If he sneaks a win in Iowa, I think New Hampshire is his to have. But if he loses in Iowa, it's going to be a bloodbath in South Carolina. And
all right, I want you to think about this. He said. He talked about Iowa, then he talked about South Carolina, and then he talked about New Hampshire. So in Iowa, I think it was Ted Cruz who won the presidential primary, and he's right because after that, Donald Trump won the primary in South Carolina and in New Hampshire. So far his predictions have been on point in reference to if these things happen, Donald Trump's going to win the nomination. Those things did happen. He lost Iowa, won South Carolina, and according to him, pretty much everybody who gets South Carolina gets the presidential ticket for the Republican Party. So let's kind of go through a little bit more.
I think that the winner of that will be the nominee, as it's always been. And I think more of it is dependent upon current events and what happens in the world than it has anything to do with Donald Trump himself. Yeah. If Iraq, if Syria, if the world stays on fire and the administration...
The Washington Post is right on. I mean, these are obvious, clear lies. This is not just, muddling through a policy plan where he says, yeah.
So when you watch the whole video, you'll see a lot of things they went through where Donald Trump said a lot of things and he obviously lied, right? It was fact-checked, he lied. But I want you to really listen on what she said. It's important.
Of course, we're going to build a wall and we're going to let the good ones in.
But is he ever going to be held accountable for this stuff?
I don't think so, but I think it has more to do with his outsiderness than actually.
There you go. That's what it's about. People did not care what he said. They wanted an outsider. They wanted somebody who they feel can get stuff done. Because remember, this is 10 years ago. Congress was not doing anything. Well, they still don't, but they were not doing a lot of stuff. So they wanted somebody from the outside, and especially somebody like Donald Trump who says he's going to do A, B, C, and D, even though he might lie about certain things. People ignored a lot of those lies because of frustration, I think, from the system. That's my assumption, at least.
With Trump, we know that over 60% of Americans want an outsider to take the Oval Office, and right now Trump is the only credible one that credible, I use that word loosely, that the GOP is putting up. Now that Ben Carson has fallen, since he clearly has no idea about foreign policy at all, and Carly Fiorina fails to get any traction.
Right. But who's getting traction is Ted Cruz. Let's put up the Iowa poll numbers. Quinnipiac just came out. Look at this. Ted Cruz has doubled.
So, Quinnipiac, whatever, how the way you say it. That poll was, even though Donald Trump was winning in that poll, that state went to Ted Cruz. So that poll was wrong. I wish they quoted those polls in their description here, but they usually don't. All they do is just talk about it. So that's where they were wrong. Donald Trump lost Iowa.
His support from just a month ago, and he's just now shy of Trump. Cruz has support among Tea Party 42%, evangelicals 27%, conservatives 55%, women 26%. What do you mean?
If he wins in New Hampshire, that sets up the bloodbath in South Carolina. I think Cruz does very well there. Cruz is in the perfect position for someone that's got the appeal to the broad.
Now, he's been right so far, right? He's been right predicting. But I think his biases led him to think that Ted Cruz is going to do great. in South Carolina, and you can see Ted Cruz lost by like so much, but like 10, 20 percentage point, 10 percentage points. That's a huge, huge loss. So he was wrong about that. So in this video, I just wanted to go through. It's important to kind of go back and review what people said. And a lot of times we think when we listen to news these days this is the only time this has happened. But that is not true. These things happen again and again in different variances. But as you can see, a lot of people say a lot of things. We are left with emotions and we never go back and check. And that's what the whole purpose of WayBack Media is to learn from our stuff, go back and see who said what and what actually came to fruition, what happened with what people said. So I'll see you in the next video podcast where you're listening it. Have a great and wonderful day. Have a good one. Bye-bye.